Do you remember Deathcore from the MySpace days where it was really brutal and intense, like Job for a Cowboy, Suicide Silence, or Whitechapel? Well, get ready for some new Deathcore in the year of 2025 with this new band I'm checking out. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your boy Matt Diazgo coming at you with a new music review. Thank you for coming on by. Always, I appreciate it. Today's EP that I'm checking out is from a band called Whole World Wept, with their debut EP called Scorcher. If you've never heard about this band, they are a deathcore band based out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I think they've probably been a band for less than a year. I'm gonna go with 6 months probably. I recently discovered them because one of the members of the group, it's a two-man group. One is a guy called Pat V. He's a former guitarist for a hardcore band called Agitator. They're from back in the day, like mid 2010s. I heard him a couple times, not too bad. And the other guy, Brent E, who is an underground, rapper, and I think he's from the Philly scene and everything. Don't know too much about him, but it's a two-man project. And one of the members hit me up and was like, "Hey, would it be cool if you review our stuff?" And I'm always like, "Thank you, I appreciate it. Happy to do that. Trying to make this my full-time gig. So the more people who hit me up, I really appreciate it. So thank you for hitting me up and liking my content." So that's how I came across these guys. And like I said, if you're into like the old MySpace deathcore scene, this might be something that will be up your alley. With this EP, the band is blasting into the deathcore scene very strong and very fast. This EP definitely lives up to its name because it's a scorching record of intensity, but not always very cohesive. This release is relentless, stacked with, dense riffs, crushing vocals, and machine-tight drumming. It's a kind of heavy that doesn't really, ask for your attention, it demands it. But just as quickly as the band is able to pull you in with their raw force and intensity, they risk everything by pushing you away with one overused tool, and that is samples. From the jump off, I gotta say, it's clear that Whole World Wept is definitely taking inspiration from an early 2000s metal deathcore band called Kill Whitney Dead, who famously peppered in samples throughout their records that have very dark, humorous, and very unsettling undertones to them. But where Kill Whitney Dead kind of used samples very sparsely, just punching them in at the right tonal shift of their songs, Whole World Wept kind of smothers this EP with all the samples in it. Nearly every track on this EP is packed with a clip that is ranging from very ironic to just too familiar. And too often they just feel like they're just jammed in there for the sake of it, and so it just really kills a lot of the momentum in here. By the time you reach the end of the EP with the song, if I'm saying it correctly, the Armageddon Stomp, where they actually have a sample of the band's name being used in the song, it would have sounded really cool if they didn't have a bunch of samples before, because when it does come, it's very like low sounding, and it could sound more brutal with how like heavy everything sounds. But because of the overuse of samples, it just kind of feels like, oh, they're doing it again. So I would say their biggest obstacle possibly is themselves by just jamming too many samples throughout this EP. So I want to play a clip of the Armageddon Stomp. Sorry guys if I'm mispronouncing it. So you can get a sense of just how the last sample just kind of goes out on a whisper more than anything, than being really impactful.
Whole World Wept, Scorcher 2025. For best results, please replay at maximum volume.
It's definitely something that can be, it sounds pretty cool and everything, but it's just the samples are just used too many times throughout this whole EP, and it just, it's diminishing returns. And I gotta say, that's a bit of a shame because the EP itself, Scorcher, is genuinely quite solid. Tracks like Blue Ruin really throw things back to the early days of Suicide Silence in terms of its sound, because it's got a really punchy snare work at the start of the song and some very groovy laden riffs that just bring some good bounce to the overall song. So I want to play in the opening clip of Blue Ruin so you get a sense of just like whoa, these guys are doing the Suicide Silence thing in a pretty cool way. has that Suicide Silence feel at first, and then when the pick skills come in, it just takes it into a whole nother like grindcore aesthetic. Grave Pusher hints at the band's creative skills here by having a very interesting song structure that has a very stop and go play style to it, and also some good variations from the drums, the riffs, and the vocals to make it one of the more interesting songs on the EP. So I want to play a clip of that for you right now. There's some solid deathcore work there. And then the song Finally Sober and Ready to Crash Out have some of the most menacing riffs on the EP, especially towards the back end of the song. The drumming throughout the whole EP is especially sharp, tight, fast, and just very locked in. And I would say the production does a really good job of making the drums sound very clean and have a very aggressive edge to them. But every time the band is able to build up some good momentum, another sample clip drops in and it just kind of throws everything sideways. Like they're using so many samples on this little EP that they're already kind of pulling from iconic samples from other bands. Like they use a Juice clip that Tsunami used a while ago that, you know, they made it very memorable. But while here, it doesn't really feel very very unique. If anything, like I said before, it feels very derivative. Instead of like enhancing the overall music or, you know, carving out their own identity, these samples really begin to dilute whatever Whole World Wept is trying to establish here. Scorcher does show some flashes of serious potential at times. There's some real talent here when it comes to musicianship. You know, there's moments where the songs really start to really breathe and really take shape and you know, go beyond the chaos that they're making. But the band seems to be stuck between being very heavy and being quite gimmicky. But right now, it feels like they're leaning a little bit too much into borrowed tricks when they clearly have the tools to really build something that is uniquely their own. Scorcher burns bright for sure, but it does burn out a bit under the weight of its own distractions. Overall, there's some promising deathcore here. I will say, you know, yeah, there are moments of like Suicide Silence, other prominent deathcore acts that you can see here that are, you know, clearly their influences. And yeah, they're sharp musicians. They sound really great at times. It can get a little bit familiar and a little bit redundant and derivative, but you know, that's kind of okay. But then what really kills it is that there's too many samples in this EP. And so it just really drags it down a bit. So it's still a fresh band, a fresh new identity for them. They're still working things out. But at the moment, I would say this new EP from Whole World Wept, Scorcher, I would have to give it a nice and okay 5.5 out of 10. Links down below. Tell me what you think. Thanks for coming by. I always appreciate it. Till next time, guys. See you in the pit. Good things about you. Cool little war.